Even if you don't care about astrology, odds are pretty good that you know your star sign. I'm a Gemini, which is twins, and Ocho the cat, my co-producer, is a Cancer, the crab. But you may have heard that we just entered the year of the rabbit, which is part of the Chinese zodiac. Based on a 12-year cycle that's related to the lunar calendar, the Chinese zodiac and its relatives around Asia are increasingly common in Western culture. If you've heard of it, you probably know that a different animal represents each year. But did you know that behind that series of 12 animals is a legend of an ancient competition? This week, we'll take a look at the story of the Zodiac Race. I'm Jer Christie, and this is the Mythographist, where we look at the living folktales, myths, and legends from cultures around the globe. The stories that shape how entire societies see the world, but are often invisible to outsiders. Welcome to our first series where we explore the most important and well-known myths from Mainland China and the cultural context that keeps them alive today. Long, long ago, when the world was new, and the first people had not yet been made by Fuxian Yua, and Yu Huang Dadi, Yu Di, the Jade Emperor, the supreme ruler of all things, looked down from his palace in the heavens. He saw many things upon the face of the earth, trees and grass, rivers and seas, mountains that hold up the sky. And there he saw beasts of all kinds, crawling and climbing and running and flying, burrowing deep inside the ground, swimming in the waters, soaring through the clouds. Yu Di, of course, is not alone in the courts of the heavens. Many surround him, and foremost among his aides is Luwu, steward of the 9 heavenly gardens. Luwu is strict but good-natured, and though he walks upright, and his face is like that of a man, he is monstrous in size, and his body and arms, his legs, his claws are those of a tiger, and he carries a great spear in his hand. He has 9 tails, and it is Luwu who changes the seasons in the heavens. Sometime not long after the dawn of the world, Luwu comes before Yu Di's throne. "My lord," he says, "another season has nearly passed, and soon it shall be your birthday." "Indeed," replies Yu Di. "Behold all the creatures on the earth below, Luwu. I should like to see them. Perhaps they could entertain us while we celebrate." Luwu nods and he considers the Jade Emperor's words. "Yes, your highness. We could host a race among them to see what qualities they each possess, who is the fastest, who is shrewdest." This idea pleases Yu Di greatly. "Make it so. The race shall begin at the break of dawn, and the 12 winners shall be honored with the privilege of being among my heavenly guard." So it is that Luwu goes down to the mortal realm of earth and declares to all the animals that there shall be a race in honor of the Jade Emperor's birthday, and that the winners shall be greatly honored. As you might assume, this excites the animals a great deal, and every creature you can imagine, from the auspicious dragon to the lowly chicken, prepares to take part. All they talk about for weeks is the emperor's birthday party and the race to come. Cat and Rat are neighbors, and Cat says to Rat, "When you leave to go to the race, wake me up so that I may join in." And Rat agrees. But although he would never show it, and although Cat does not know it, Rat does not care for Cat due to some wrong of long ago, real or imagined. So when day breaks on Yu Di's birthday, and all the animals bustle from their homes and line up to wait for the start of the race, Rat leaves without saying a word to Cat, who remains fast asleep. The starting signal is given, and off the animals go. Hooves pound, feet dash, paws patter, bellies slither as the race goes on. At the end, Yu Di waits, smiling. Not far from the finish line, though, is a rushing river. Rat arrives there first, but he sees the water and knows that he will be swept away if he tries to cross it. As luck would have it, though, thundering up behind him is Ox. "Friend Ox," says Rat, "this river is too swift for me. Could I ride across upon your back?" "Of course, little one," says Ox, and so on climbs Rat, and across the river they go. They are only a few paces from the finish line when Rat leaps from Ox's head and scurries forward before UD. He has won the race. Moments later, Ox crosses the line in second place, annoyed more at himself for being fooled than at Rat. Behind them, water splashes, and out from the river strides Tiger, great and powerful. He presents himself before the Emperor, third in the race. In fourth place is Rabbit. Rabbit is no swimmer, but he is clever. He hops from stone to rock to stone to rock to floating log, which he paddles to shore, slowly but surely finding his way across the river. The next to arrive is Dragon. UD is surprised. Dragon, you are the fleetest of all creatures by far, and yet you arrive so late. How can this be? Dragon bows humbly. My apologies, Your Eminence. I flew fast to celebrate your birthday, but on my way I saw a village afire. Those who lived there were in desperate need, so I sent showers of rain to help them. Then, when I flew over the river, I saw a rabbit hanging onto a log, and I sent a gust of wind to help him across. Next comes Horse, galloping down the path, but at the last moment, Snake slithers out from under his hooves. Horse jumps back, startled, and Snake crosses the finish line sixth, just ahead of Horse. A little time goes by, and then a raft bumps ashore. Off climb Monkey, Sheep, and Rooster, and they stroll together to the finish line. After you, says Sheep, but Monkey says, no, after you, and Rooster says, no, please, after you. If this is the way we are, says Monkey, let us be reasonable about it. We cannot all cross the finish line at the same time, for there must be order. Sheep has made us all friends, and without his help, none of us would have made the crossing. He should go first. And you, Monkey, says Rooster, you climbed the trees and gathered vines and branches to make the raft, so you should go before me. So Sheep crosses the finish line eighth, with Monkey following, and Rooster close behind. It is well past noon now. Is anyone else coming? Asks UD. There are 10 here, but we have 12 positions to fill. There, says Luwu, squinting and pointing. Someone else is almost here. Along comes Dog, loping and panting, a happy look on his face. Here I am, he says. Dog, you are a fast runner. What took you so long? Luwu asks him. Oh, the river was so nice and cool, Dog says joyfully. I couldn't help but stop to play in it. I hope I haven't delayed you. There's still one more behind you, UD says with a smile. And look, there he is, running fast though his legs are short and stubby, kicking up a cloud of dust behind him. Pig, exclaims UD when he crosses the finish line. You are clearly no slow creature, this much I can see, but here you are, last among the 12. Did you encounter some trouble? The pig plops down on the ground, untroubled. Not at all, he says. I simply got hungry. A good meal along the road, you know. But then I was hot and had to bathe in some mud, and then I was tired, so I stayed for a quick nap. And he puts his head down and within moments is fast asleep once again. So these are our winners, UD says, pleased as he looks on the 12 animals. Each has proved to be best in a different way, and for that you shall all be rewarded. You shall be honored in the stars, and each of you in turn shall guard a year for me, from 1st to 12th in cycle. And you shall always be remembered for the qualities you have shown today. Just then, Cat is waking up. Where is everybody? He asks sleepily. When he realizes what has happened, he yells, Rat! And everyone hears him, especially Rat, who runs in terror. And that is why the years have the names they do, and also why the cat is always chasing the rat. This folktale of the Chinese zodiac, or shengxiao, recounts the story behind the 12-year cycle, each year of which is represented by a certain animal. People born in a given year are said to share characteristics with their animal, much in the same way as the monthly star signs in the Western zodiac. Each animal is associated with characteristics, but also a host of other cycles and symbols. Elements, yin or yang, concepts called heavenly stems and earthly branches, and other animals, among other things. There's a whole lot of detail you can get into if you want to, but we'll keep this surface level for now. I don't think it's a stretch to say that practically everybody in China knows not only which year they are, but also the whole zodiac order, and most probably know that the order comes from their places in the race that was held by Yu Huangdadi for his birthday. Often paired with that framing are the traditional characteristics of the animals, which, as you may have noticed, are similar but not identical to Western animal archetypes. Those characteristics, in turn, are associated loosely with the people born in those years. As I researched this, my Chinese friends repeated that same basic framing to me, along with one or two of the smaller anecdotes in there. However, when I went online and searched in English, practically every single version of the story had details about each animal in the story, with only slight variations. Why the dragons lay, the exchange between monkey, rooster, and sheep, very similar. I honestly don't know why that is, as there's no standard version out there, as far as I can tell, either in English or in Chinese. Even the version that's quoted on Wikipedia dead ends with a website dated to 2003 with no cited source. Is there a common referenced source floating around out there somewhere? If you know, please tell me, because the consistency seems really odd to me. At any rate, I gathered details about how Chinese people think of the animals and based my version on those. I took some of the ideas from other English versions of the stories, but they were all approved by my Chinese sources. Let's talk about the characters in this story. Yu Huangdadi, whose birthday occasioned the race in the first place, is the Jade Emperor. He's one of the highest deities in Chinese mythology and plays a frequent role in a lot of the stories. He's also known by his shortened name, Yudi, and is associated with Taoism. Although he's not the highest deity in that religion, legends don't really have much about anybody else above him, unless you count Guanyin, but she really only shows up in Journey to the West. Tiandi, whose name means heavenly deity, and Shangdi, highest deity, are essentially non-Taoist analogues of Yu Huangdadi. They pop up here and there in different stories, but in similar roles. And you could probably find some fascinating insights on the development of these myths if you did a careful analysis. But I'm not going to do that. As another aside, the heavenly realms that these great gods inhabit have an awful lot of bureaucracy, probably related to the complex court and government system that was evolving throughout the lands that would one day become China. In this version of the story, I added Luwu and the setup of the race. It's usually just the races for Yudi's birthday. But I think Luwu's a pretty cool guy, worth talking about, and this was a good place to introduce both him and the heavenly courts that he manages. All the facts in there, his appearance, his spear, him being responsible for Yu Huangdadi's court and the changing of the seasons up there, that's all canon, not my invention. I believe Luwu has also started showing up in popular culture a bit, and I say good for him. He's due for some exposure. I also reference Fuxi and Nuwa, the gods credited with making people, but we'll get to their story soon enough. Anyway, that's everything you need to get started with the Chinese zodiac. Of course, this is just one version of the story. As one of the most important legends in modern Chinese culture, there are lots of other versions floating around out there. So if you know the story differently, tell me. I'm always ready to learn, and we can't learn if we don't listen. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Mythographist. This episode was written, narrated, and produced by me, Jer Christie, with research by myself and Elena Tong, and music by Xiaoqing Luna Li. If you enjoyed the episode, we'd love to hear about it. And you know the buttons to push, like, comment, subscribe, maybe even share it with someone else who'd enjoy it. Finally, if you have a story from your culture that you'd like to share, especially one that has shaped the way you see the world, get in touch. There are so many stories out there, and the more of them we hear, the more we'll understand each other. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time on The Mythographist.